What's up guys, this is Sapphire and I'm bringing you another exciting replay. Now I know there's been a little bit of a gap between replay uploads, but I'll be back to daily uploads, so we're all back in business now. And we've got Glade actually playing as mOOnGlaDe, spawning as the blue Zerg up against none other than Slush, the red Zerg. Now if you don't know who Slush is, he is a top Canadian player and he's a member of Team Root, so he plays for Root Gaming, which is a really big clan in North America. And he also, interestingly, used to play for XDS back in the early Brood War days. Now, if you guys can remember XDS, then you're old school, because XDS was the clan that Gur, aka Guillermain, aka the first player to go play televised Starcraft in Korea. So Slush was a member of that, and he's done really well in a whole bunch of other stuff. He won the Team Liquid Invitational #2 in tournament in beta, and he's just a really big name in Starcraft. So really excited to see one of SCA's best players, Glade, up against Slush. And it's Zerg vs Zerg, so right now looking very similar. Both players, no gas, no pool just yet, so it's a bit of a face-off right now. Looking like not going to open too aggressively with Zerglings. I'm curious as to whether they're both going to go pool first, because it's looking like a very close mirror match. Here's the pool going down for Slush. I expect a similar timing from Glade. Actually, he's saving minerals. He might go very offensive hatch first. This is super aggressive, and he's done this on the information that he's not this close, so his scouting information right now is just that he's not diagonally across there. Hasn't scouted the south, so he's getting lucky in terms of scouting that they are cross-positional. But this is a very aggressive opening in Zerg vs Zerg. It's completely not standard. You would expect to see an early pool, early gas into either speed baneling or roach into lair tech, because if you go for the classic baneling opening, then all you have to do is get banelings on either side of your opponent, and then you can just take out all their drones. And basically the first wave of banelings is to force the drones to evacuate north, and the second round of banelings is to clean them up. So often you just see Zerg vs Zerg degenerating into a baneling war, or the other player will go roach. So I'm really curious if we see, there we are seeing the roach one. So Slush is playing relatively standard here, but as yet he hasn't scouted this expansion. He's only just going to pick it up right now. So he's going to see this and he's going to have to react accordingly. So I'm curious as to whether Slush is going to change up his build order a little bit once he sees this hatchery going down. And Glade's got a little bit lucky there that Slush did not scout that earlier. The thing with Zerg vs Zerg is, because there's no real threat to your Overlord apart from the Queens, you'll find Overlords scouting for almost all of the game until Mutalisks are out, because they can be positioned really well, and you can just see exactly what's coming. And here we see this off-creep Queen. This is the only threat to that Overlord, and you have to be careful. Slush has to be careful when he does this, because it would be very simple for Glade to send some lings, get us around on that Queen, especially if it gets out here in the open. It takes it a very long time to get home. So even though it could have taken out that Overlord, it's safer to send that Queen home, because otherwise mOOnGlaDe would have picked up on it and done something about it. But looking a little bit defensive here from Glade, throwing out a second Spinecrawler. He is a little bit known for this, especially in the HDH in his games versus Noni. He was throwing lots and lots of Spinecrawlers down, and his builds at the time were lots and lots of Spinecrawlers. So Glade really likes these defensive openings, and curiously stripping drones off his gas onto minerals, then back onto gas. So he's got a very managed build here, and once again we are seeing this Overlord threat, and looks like the Queen might get it. Lucky that he's only a little bit off creep, so you don't want to take your Queen too far off the creep there. But Glade is just opening up with delayed tech, no lair tech going online, no lair tech for Slush, but Slush has been pumping out these roaches, and he's got this wall here, which is exactly to prevent banelings coming in, because often you'll see what's called the 3 roach wall, where you'll have 3 roaches there and no more roaches are made. So you just have a roach wall there so that the banelings can't get through, and roaches will absorb the baneling damage really nicely. And after you've got your 3 roach wall, then you'll find lair tech into mutas. But it looks like Slush isn't doing that. He's still continuing to produce a lot of Zerglings, so he must be thinking about making a move on this expansion, which is being defensed up hugely. And right now, I'm not sure what Slush's plan is to get back into this game, because he is behind. I would have expected to see lair tech, as we do see a sacrifice Overlord coming in there from Glade. He is really good with that. He will see the lair tech coming online, but interesting lair cancel there by Slush. So he saw that Glade was scouting it, and then he's cancelled his lair, so he's obviously going to continue to focus on tier 1, tier 1.5 units, whereas Glade's throwing down the Evo chamber, probably going to put down spore colonies, just because he's going to be really, really worried about the Mutalisk, because he saw that lair morphing. So I like this by Slush, throwing down his own expansion at the time while he continues to produce lots and lots of Zerglings. He has a huge force of Zerglings, and I like the positioning, as opposed to positioning him out the front like you would with just about every other player. He's trying to hide his mass-ling right here. So he's either thinking about storming this front, which is really, really well defended, or he's thinking about a run-by. I'm not sure how successful it's going to be, to be honest. I think he would have been better continuing to commit to the Roach, or actually finishing off his lair tech. But he is being a little bit tricky, so curious as to what Glade is going to be able to do to come back here. More spine crawlers going down. No, it's a spore crawler this time, so he is worried about those Mutalisks. No spore crawlers yet in the main. Would expect to see some. No, there's a Hydra Den, so he's worried on that aspect. But we are seeing these Zerglings moving out now. Bunch of Zerglings. This is a huge, huge number of Zerglings here, and we're seeing a heap of spore crawlers going down. But now Glade's seen it with his overlords. He's switching to spine crawlers. Going to be a interesting fight here. This is a lot of Zerglings, but it's a ton of spine crawlers. Zerglings coming in right now, going for the run by. He goes completely past, ignores the front, trying to work on this queen, cancels the Hydra Den, realizes the Hydra tech was probably going to go down, shepherds all of those drones out. Now he's engaging in the spine crawler line. This queen is going to go down, once again bypassing these other Zerglings, working on the spore crawler. Surprised they're not going for the hatchery right now. They could take the lair out here, luring him back, losing another queen. This expansion is in pretty good shape, but he's switching the lair at his hatchery. Good recovery there by mOOnGlaDe. He realized his lair's at risk, and his main is flooded by Zerglings. So mOOnGlaDe is in huge, huge trouble right now. Does not have speed on those links. Those are very, very slow links, and these links are basically going to take out his main while Slush is getting his expansion going online. Took a little bit of counter harassment, but right now it's really bad news here for mOOnGlaDe. He's going to lose his lair, although I like the fact that he threw a lair down. He's walling off more spine crawlers. I don't know how he's going to come back into this game. He's in bad, bad shape, and Slush must be feeling supremely confident right now, having dropped that main. So that's one of the most successful run-bys I've ever seen. And right now, all he's got to be doing is careful not to lose too many Zerglings to these Broodlings, which are about to pop out of this Evo chamber. There's those Broodlings. Got to run away. Yes, he just does get away. That's that Zergling speed kicking in. He's not actually going to be able to get out here. This spine crawler wall is going to pretty much mop that up along with the Zergling, so that's going to be that force taken care of. But I feel that was a little bit of a mistake, even though we've got the spawning pool coming on for Glade, so he's getting back online. He could have just left them inside and forced Glade to come and do him, because by now not doing that, looking like he's just going to throw that hatch up. Why not? There's tons and tons of minerals left. So, curious as to what Glade's going to do to come back into this game, because I feel that Slush, if he went mutas as opposed to these speed upgraded roaches, that he could have just completely finished this, because this is all spine crawlers all the time with a Hydra Den and range going on. I don't imagine that Glade has anywhere near the economy to support anti-air right now. Now if we just take a look at the income, it's still only 32 harvesters over 27, so despite losing his main, he was able to save quite a lot of drones, but the income itself is 1,000 compared to 740, so that's a little bit of a tough situation. But now mOOnGlaDe is so defensed up, he has so many spine crawlers that it's going to take some huge force numbers or some air units to try and break in there. Few defensive Banelinks just to make sure there's no more Zergling harassment. We see mOOnGlaDe still no speed there, just trying to scout, but he's going to pick up all these speed links. So I would expect to see one of these overlords used as a sacrifice shortly. But this is a really interesting ZVZ matchup. It usually